BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. Hey, 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 hey. Look who's here. The prodigy, the one and only Ousman Touray. He is from now my official hero. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you
to
so
the BlaXit
much.
family too.
Thank you so much for what you are doing for Gambia.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you are doing for Africa.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you are doing in being an example for the youth
Thank you.
of the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. In watching your interviews, I've seen the tweets from Julius Malemba. I've seen the comments from Pielo Lumumba. And I've heard, comments even from Ambassador just today about you. And I am just so impressed, as everybody is. My phone hasn't stopped ringing about you. So what we did is we put out a post. I said to people that we were going to interview you today. Wow. So I've got some BlaXit questions. These aren't questions from me, but these are questions from BlaXit subscribers who are championing the cause for you. Ousman Touray, Ousman Touray, Ousman Touray. Okay? Right, so the first question is from Farming is the Future. What inspired him to study the Rwandan development model?
Yeah, thank you very much. And the issue is that when we look into what is going on in Rwanda, it's actually a miracle and something that is uniquely Rwandese. Mm-hmm. In a sense that they came from a genocide back in 1994, the country was at zero. They were able to set a pattern of development that is today uniquely theirs, and everybody in Africa today celebrates Rwanda for that wonderful model of development. So if African countries also want to move, mm-hmm. they need to look into things that are uniquely theirs. Decisions and policies, laws that are well informed by the African reality. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what is going on in Rwanda. Okay. Once we can have this in all over Africa, because what is going on now is what we need. Mm-hmm. The Gambia today needs a transformation. A transformation in which it is going to be well informed by the realities of the Gambian continent, mm-hmm. By the Gambia. Mm-hmm. So making it possible that we inform our policies, we inform those in charge of steering our own affairs with the reality of the African continent. And that is why Rwanda is making it there. Let me say this, development always have to come from within. Yeah. You don't import development. Yeah. You don't expect individuals who don't live in Africa, who don't belong to the African continent, to bring the development that we desire. It has to be initiated by us, and it has to be developed by us. Right. And that is what I saw in Rwanda. And I also want to see the same thing going on in countries like Senegal, going on in countries like the Gambia, in countries like Sierra Leone, mm-hmm. seeing it in Liberia, in Malawi, everywhere in the continent, mm-hmm. making sure that we can get to the development that we desire, channeling this economic growth that we talk about, channeling the numbers that we talk about in the financial sector, talking about the GDP every now and then. We want to see this in the human development. We want to see this in both infrastructure and also making it possible for the individual to realize this, seeing that happiness in the African individual. So to do that, we need to understand what really works for us and not to borrow policies that are on Eurocentric views.
So it should be African policies and African initiative.
Exactly.
African ingenuity. African intelligence for Africa.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's great. I mean, that would be a model. And he says, do you think it will work in the Gambia?
Yes. Now, why? In fact, if you look at Rwanda, for instance, the Gambia have been taking policies from all over the world, and it never worked for them. Yeah. The problem is we find it difficult as African countries to try something within, and that is seeing what works in various African countries and then bringing it out there for other African countries to give a shot. Many countries around the world today are excelling. They're doing extremely well, and their inspiration is something that they got from the pioneers of the real Pan-Africanism and the real African model. So if Singapore is doing it out there, if China is doing it out there, back in 1965, they have the same economic growth with countries in Africa.
Of course.
So what do they got right and what did we get wrong?
Yeah.
Those are some of the fundamental questions that we have to pose. So it can work in the Gambia, of course, because looking at the realities in Rwanda, looking at the status of that particular country, the way in which the transformation was done, that is exactly what the Gambia needs today. How do we make sure that we have a development agenda that is well informed by Gambians?
Yes.
Going back to look into the agricultural sector in the Gambia,
yes.
we can do it. Studies have shown that in Jahali Pacha and Sapo irrigation alone, from growth, like from the farming itself to the factory, can employ around 1 million people. We do not have 1 million people in need of job today in the Gambia. So why can't we try things that work for us? The agricultural sector is there. Our fishing industry is here. Why should we just allow it to be in the hands of individuals who doesn't actually are here for the interest of the African continent? That is exactly what we are saying. Let us read what works for us. Let us understand the real African system and then set a pattern of development that is uniquely ours, as Rwanda did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, one of the things that I do admire about what Rwanda has done is that it's completely reinvented itself, you know, from the bottom, if you like, up. Yes. You know, because they have been ravaged by war. And to see what they have now become, regardless of all the other side political issues, I have to look at what it is. And what I see from when Wodamaya went there is absolutely amazing. I remember seeing a picture of him. I watched a video when he actually sat in the gym and was eating food. That's how clean the place was. Yeah. So I think, you know, there's lots for us to learn. And the fact that the individuals, the members of society got involved in the cleaning of their nation, got involved in the decision making of their nation, and was involved in, for example, repealing some of the colonial laws that existed. You know, I think that these are all progressive norms that need to be, encapsulated within the African conversation and narrative moving forward. So the next question I've got is, how would you like to see Africa in general and the Gambia portrayed?
Yes, I want to see an Africa.
And this is from Haifa. Yeah.
I want to see the Gambia and Africa being portrayed in a very fair manner.
Yeah.
To understand that we have individuals that live within this continent and have a right to enjoy the dignity of man.
Yeah.
And that is to live, to be recognized, and to be accepted wherever they are. It doesn't matter whether we have a different color with other sets of human beings or not. We need to be recognized as a nation. We need to be recognized as a continent, and that self-dignity, we need to earn it at the international level, starting with the United Nations itself. Now, how do we do this? It has to start from within us. How do we understand one another? How do we accept one another? How does tolerance work within our various societies and etc.? Who are those that we accept to move with? Who are those that are in line with the same agendas? Who are those in line with the same spirit? Who are those that hold to the civilization and the culture of the African continent? That is exactly what we need to see. And that is the kind of picture that I would want to see the Gambia and Africa being portrayed. A civilized continent, a continent that is set for growth, a continent that is set for development, and a continent that has all opportunities to be where it is supposed to be. So, but for this to be attained, we need to understand that we need to set things at our own hands. We need to take our own responsibilities. It doesn't matter whether the people live in Africa here or not, because to me what matters is not living in Africa, but Africa living in you. So whether you are in Africa or you're living in the diaspora, as long as you are an African descent, you must look inward. How do you make sure that you can invest in the continent with the little that you have in the West before you die, and then the system takes everything from you? Why not invest in Africa?
Exactly.
Create a little employment.
Exactly.
You die and then your legacy continue.
Yes.
But you don't have that. So these are the kind of values that we need to understand. They will have to be within a period of 2 years, and then understanding the reality on the ground, learning about the culture on the ground, learning about that society in which we are and etc. It is going to make it much easier, because that is going to enable individuals to come in and invest, and it is also going to enable individuals to come in and then to understand more about the African value and the African culture. So once we have this opportunity, it is going to be much more easier for us to call on people to come and invest, because that is why we are calling on people, because as long as we do not invest in the continent by Africans, it's still going to be another threat, because capital flight is a reality and it goes on every day. So for us to defeat that, we must control the core of our economy, and to control that, we need individuals to come in and invest, and those individuals have to be Africans, of course.
Of course. When you come and you're an African of African descent, your money stays. Yeah, and it holds tight.
Yeah.
When you invest, it's because you're investing in yourself and you're investing in your own people. You're investing in your own country. You're investing in your own continent. And therefore, that investment has so much more value. So I appreciate your opinion, and it's something that I will be presenting. So your opinion was sought first, you see? Your opinion was sought first because he is the one. Like I said, he is the one. So last but not least, I'd just like to know if Adrian has any questions. No, he's shaking his head. So I'm going to just close up by saying thank you so much for your time. I know we have another interview to do and they're waiting patiently. You know, I just want to wish you every single success and to say congratulations on getting that place in that Rwandan university in Kigali. Well done. What's it called?
It's called the ULK University.
ULK University.
University of Leadership in Kigali.
Yeah, the University Leadership. Well, that's exactly where you need to be. And, you know, I'm so happy that you've been sponsored and supported in that program. Yeah. And also, I know you said you was meeting with the UN. What was the outcome of that, quickly?
Yeah, you know, basically I'm meeting almost all agencies now. So I met some UN agencies, of course, and we are discussing about programs, and I will be having an interview tomorrow with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former president of Liberia, and we'll be discussing African matters as well. Okay, and lastly, just quickly before I go, I know that that's very important to me. How did it make you feel when you saw Julius Malema tweet you and PLO Lumumba talk about you? How did it make you feel? I had to go online and search to see whether this was really true. So, but I was really, impressed, and then I feel so glad, that the message was out there and people receive it and it as a continent. And I happened to speak on the phone with Professor Pierre Lumumba as well, even this morning, and that was a plus to me. Because I've been watching him, I've been trying to master when he speaks, and now that I can speak with him, it's a joy, and it gives me belief, it gives me hope. That the future of this continent is something that is promising. Of course, it's very, very promising. On that note, let's say goodbye to the BlaXit family. You're going to smash that like button. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Smash that like button. Please comment down below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for being a Patreon donor. Thank you for being a supporter of BlaXit channel. And thank you so much for watching, and please keep supporting Ousman Touray. Remember that name, just remember that name. Thank you, Adrian, for doing the camera work. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, BlaXit family. One nation, one Africa. Thank you, BlaXit family. Please keep watching, please subscribing, and remember, follow your dreams.
Purchase your tracks today. 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 Purchase your tracks today.